So this is a Shop Saver CNC machine. It's a couple years old. Right now it's only doing 3-axis. There is a way to make this 4-axis. I don't know how. There's no attachment. But for right now it's 3-axis, so very similar to the 3-6 that we have in the architecture shop. I bought some foam at Home Depot. It's a lot looser. It's not as dense, but I figure I'd test it anyway. So there's this construction foam that you see under the table. You see the blue and the pink. That's pretty easy to get at Home Depot. The foam is less expensive, but the more dense, the nicer it is. There's a piece. Let's see, grab one of those pieces down there. The white. Yeah, I mean you can see how dense. If I pass this around versus this is pretty loose. Like you can see the packing. Yeah, that one's a lot like this one. So I want to see. Now this is the dense one, more expensive. That stuff's pretty expensive, the pink and the blue. So I want to try with the cheapy stuff and see how that actually turns out. So the first step is to secure it down. Now in the shop we've used double stick tape. I'm going to try to do it with these wood pieces that are already here instead. It's a little more. I haven't had any problem with the double stick tape. Do you guys, anyone have any problem with it?
I don't know.
Your foam? I haven't either, but I'm going to try it the way I saw John do it here. So securing the material down is the first step. But I need to get the tool out of the way. The gantry's got to move that way. So I think being very conscious of this machine is a good idea, right? Brett scares you to death, right? And we should, right? This thing could hurt you pretty bad, right? But yeah, just kind of staying clear of its path is a good idea. So I basically need to move it that way. So on the keyboard, it has some arrows on it. We'll talk more about it. This may be restricted, but you see up in the no air pressure. Oh, it's not letting me move it now because it has low pressure. So let me John, if I let the pressure through, will I be able to jog it then?
Yeah, you're gonna have to rehome it.
And then jog it?
Yeah, move the drill.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the main steps. So we have that. So when you come in, you have to warm up the machine. It's a warming up process, which is here. There's actually a button. So there's a button in your software that says warm up. That's step one, and it runs through this whole warm up process. And then there is, I think John has this here so it knocks this wood down, so it kind of alerts you when this thing's moving, maybe. But I'm going to move that out of the way. I haven't tested that out yet. But so the machine knows where home is, and on this machine it's over here, and our machine in the shop is over there on the right side. So I'm gonna home it by pressing the button that says home. I'm gonna let it find its home. So yeah, you wouldn't want anything in the way. Like I had the drill there. John spotted the drill that I had there. So you don't want anything in the way. It's going pretty slow. You can post it on YouTube for everyone?
Yeah.
Alright, so I think it's found its way home. So I should be able to, I'm going to test it by jogging it to the right and see. Okay. So here are, these are just like over in the shop on the 3.6, there's the 3 speeds to actually jog this thing. Right now it's in fast. You have medium and you have slow. So I'm just going to move it that way so we can get our material down. So we're going to secure this down. So we're going to use these. So this is what you prefer, John, versus double stick tape?
Yeah, the double stick tape doesn't stick to the stick all the way. Turn it up so it's kind of knife edging into the material.
It's going like this.
And actually, for your stuff, you can probably just do 2 on this side or 2 on this side. We don't have to do the edges.
Just on the
Yeah, the
side.
long side.
Two like that? Okay. You guys want to try it out? I know Joe wants to do this. There's holes already in there. You're warmed up from furniture, right?
Yeah.
You guys are putting furniture together?
So I do the back ones first. Then we're going to push the material and the front jigs in and all kind of light in together. While you do that, I'm going to roll the tool back a little bit.
Okay, so there's been a warm-up sequence, right? There's been a homing. So I think to find the XYZ or the XY of this part, having the right tool on there will be the next step. Right. So for the foam, for the milling, we're going to use a 1/2 inch. That's a 1/2 inch ball mill, right?
Yep.
And then for cutting, I'm not sure which one.
Ended up using like a 1/4 inch now.
This is a 1/4 inch.
They're about a 1/4. It's the same
Okay,
shape.
so we'll use that one for cutting. So they're designated by these T1, I guess it's T2, and then T3. So it already has the right tool that we need on it. So we need to tell it where XY, to begin with, where XY is going to be. Where do I want to start cutting? So probably somewhere about, maybe about here. Be fine. Now, do you have any preference on like how close you are to the end?
So usually people, it's your material, so the amount of material you want to waste, you're doing about the same size as before.
Yeah, exactly.
So you couldn't really get more than 2 of them
Right.
long ways.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you come in a 1/2 inch on each side, then you're sure that you're not going to run into any trouble if there's some misalignment or miscalculation. So a 1/2 inch is good.
Okay.
You need to be precise. If you're going to turn these 90 degrees and try to fit it exactly in your material, then we work harder to get it exactly on.
Now, how would you like to, now, like if students have milling that they want to do, what's the procedure for that? How do you want to?
So create your design in Rhino. Orient it in your Rhino file. The Rhino file is always going to be 8 feet top to bottom and 4 feet across. Rotating it just creates problems unnecessarily. So when you're looking at your screen, it's like you're standing here looking at that 8 feet across. Now there's no reason why you can't have several beds composed one next to each other, and you'll just keep hopping over if you have like a 5-bed job or something. But have it oriented that way. Have it the lowest point touching z=0, touching the construction plane in Rhino. Have the geometry all on one layer. If you have like some features like holes or things, have that on a separate layer so it's easy to turn on and off. The program RhinoCam works on what you see is what you get. So if you turn off some geometry, it won't tilt at that. Also have another layer where you've done the outline of your model, the line that you'd want the tool to follow to cut it out on a separate layer projected down to the C-plane. So that's an easy line to get because that's a line you'll need and it's like that. That'd be about it for basic cutting. Rhino 4, please. Get on the Rhino 4.
So would they send the file to you? Would they come in?
Well, you need to operate this yourself. It's not
Okay.
like a 3D printer where I could run the job for you.
Okay.
So email me the file so I can check it and make sure you're ready, and then we'll schedule like 45 minutes to an hour to run. Jobs like this, phone is beautiful because we can push it as fast as we can. So we can almost always get a job done in about an hour.
You don't use RhinoCam?
Yes, that's what we use. Yeah.
Do we just like send in the RhinoCam file? Or?
Well, once again, I'm not going to sit here and run your file for you. There's too many variables.
I wanted to run it. I just wanted to make sure it
Yeah.
was okay with you.
You could compose the RhinoCam file if you're going to compose it for the machine over at Materials. You're going to use a different post processor, but all the other procedures are the same. You have a certain set of bits you can use over at Materials. We have different bits. So you should plan on, you're going to do some reprocessing here. But if you wanted to get as much work done as you can, you can try to create your own tool paths and bring them in.
Yeah, after we leave here, I'm going to sit down with them, and I have this file that explicitly we're going to go through all the stuff. I have the posting output, I'm going to go through all that. I just want to make sure that you were okay with them coming here.
Absolutely, yeah. The more the merrier.
All right. All right, so you got to take good notes, right? All right, so we're gonna bring the machine back. The z-axis for this, and we'll get into this a little bit more, the z-axis is the page up and down, and we'll get into moving it in increments. So I want to bring mine down a little bit, helps me visually see it. What is it by default? Do you know what it's moving, or it matters what the last person?
The machine coordinate system is up as high as it can go and in this corner. So if we erase the presets, that's where it goes to.
So like, for this, when I show you this file over in Crown, for XY, this is probably okay. What I mean. What do you think, John?
Your material.
I think I'll be alright with that. So I want to blame somebody now.
Yes, I sign off on it.
Yeah, so XY, I'm going to tell it that's where it should start cutting.
So the procedure is you move the tool to where you want 0, 0 to be, and then you press the button that says set this at 0, 0. So then that sets a whole new coordinate system with that being your XY axis. And you're going to do the same procedure in the Z. You're going to move the tool up or down to where you want the Z equals 0 to be, and you're going to click the Z0 button. If we haven't lost the machine coordinate system, we can always just default back to that, but that sets it up. So then XY is straightforward. The Z kind of depends on how you process the file in RhinoCam, because you can tell it that Z is the bottom of the material, which is the top of the bed, or you can tell it it's the top of your material, and that's just a personal preference.
So my file's set up for this to be 0, top of the bed. So yeah, setting this, like, for me, I feel like the material's kind of in a weird spot, so I might have to go out there to do that. I'm gonna bring my Z up a little bit because I'm not, I'm always conscious of, I'm worried I'm gonna hit the material even though I'm above the material.
Now this is where it's good to have a helper, so you can just keep dropping it, and I'll tell you, like when you're a 1/4 inch from the bed. So I'd stop now, and now switch to the incremental mode. So down at the bottom of the control screen, there's inch, tenth, hundredth, thousandths. Then every key press of page up and page down will move at that increment. So you could do 1 at a tenth, and then you got to drop to hundredths. Good. And then you just keep tapping that button, and I'll tell you when you touch the material. Touch the bed. You keep going. And a good technique is I spin it with my hand until I see the bed stopping. There we go. So that's Z equals 0.
And then you have to tell it that. You don't want to forget.
And well, safety note, this, generally speaking, the rule is you don't put your hand beyond this curtain, because beyond the curtain is like fit. But in a situation like this, you have to do it. Sometimes you have to do it. But you want to make sure that you're looking at the bit and that you're seeing that it's not spinning. A spinning end mill often looks just like a stopped end mill. So there's a collar up above it, a black collar that has these little knurls on it for the wrench to tighten it. If you look at that, it's very clear. If you see these indentions, then you know the bit isn't spinning. If it's a blur, if it looks like a solid cylinder, then you know the bit's spinning. You can hear it. There's also a visual indicator on that box there, but if you're not used to it, double, triple. If you're gonna go across the fence to the curtain here, double, triple, quadruple check that you're not grabbing a moving bit.
Most important thing we've said today, I think. Right?
And you won't operate this without me being by your side. So. All right, so now we're down at Z equals 0, and you press the button to reset.
I don't know. I did that. Now I did.
Okay. And then the next thing you do is you go into medium or fast speed mode and pull the bit up. Because right now you're touching the bit, touching the table, so any XY movement that you make is going to scrape, knock your material, push my can of Coke off the bed or something like that. So if ever you're going to move an XY, you always know where your Z is.
So I'm ready to load the file. So I already have a file on the desktop, I think. Right, the file stay on there.
The very same thing. Yeah. I cleared out of the semester. So.
Okay. All right. And there's USB ports in the back here, you guys.
Make yourself a folder. Name it something that makes sense. I'll keep it until the semester ends, and then I'll dump it all.
So there's 3 checks that you have to do each time for each process that you're going to do with CNC. And those 3 buttons are here. You have a little notepad, another kind of like options window, and then you have the eyeball. If you're jogging the machine and it's your software, it says warm up. That's step 1, and it runs through this whole warm up process. And then there is I think John has this here so it knocks this wood down, so it kind of lurks you when this thing's moving, maybe. But I'm going to move that out of the way. I haven't tested that out yet. But, so the machine knows where home is, and on this machine, it's over here. And our machine in the shop is over there on the right side. So I'm gonna home it by pressing the button that says home. I'm gonna let it find its home. So yeah, you wouldn't want anything in the way. Like I had the drill there. John spotted the drill that I had there. So you don't want anything in the way. It's going pretty slow. You post it on YouTube for everyone?
Yeah.
Alright, so I think it's found its way home. So I should be able to, I'm going to test it by jogging it to the right and see. Okay. So here are, these are just like over in the shop on the 3.6, there's the 3 speeds to actually jog this thing. Right now it's in fast. You have medium and you have slow. So I'm just going to move it that way so we can get our material down. So we're going to secure this down. So we're going to use these. So this is what you prefer, John, versus double stick tape?
Yeah, the double stick tape doesn't stick to the stick all the way. Turn it up so it's kind of knife edging into the material.
Going like this.
And actually, for your stuff, you can probably just do 2 on this side and 2 on this side. You don't have to do the edges.
Just on the
along
side.
side.
Two like that?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to try it out? I know Joe wants to do it. There's holes already in there. You're warmed up from furniture, right?
Yeah.
Did you do some furniture? Yeah, we put furniture together.
So I did the back ones first. I'm going to push the material and the front jigs in and all kind of light in together. While you do that, I'm going to roll the tool back a little bit. Pretty much at the limit of that compressor with the tools in the shop. So I was operating the vacuum former, which also wants compressed air, and that drew too much, so it shut down the machine. So I pressed the home button. You can't do anything without rehoming. As soon as it senses that it's not getting what it needs, or if it's sensing that it hits something, it just freezes, it shuts itself down. You gotta home it. When you home it, the first thing it does is it moves it up in the Z. That's why I wasn't worried about dragging across the material. So now that I'm not using the vacuum former, and we've got the machine reset, we want to restart the file. And there is a function. There's an app for that. But there's also a trick. So it's re-engage that soft limits button. You can see that here. And when you come in individually, I'm gonna talk at you all over again. So don't worry if you can't see it. You definitely want to turn that off. The next thing you want to do is go to File, Restart. And it's going to have a list of all the jobs, including our job that we just did. And it's going to record the line number that it stopped at. Write that number down, because if anything goes wrong in the next step, it clears that value, and we won't be able to get back there unless we remember the number and we can type it in. So it's like a one-shot deal. But in this case, it remembers the line number. I'm going to click OK. It's going to move to the cutting position, and because we have use restart command checked, it's going to ask me to press the enter button to restart. So that gives me one more chance to make sure that no one left their iPhone on the bed, that no one's kind of standing too close to the machine. It goes over there, clicks on the spindle. You guys can hear the spindle, that little whine of the spindle, and then it's giving me a push enter to continue here in the command line. And now we haven't lost 20 minutes worth of work.
So, with what we're doing, so this next assignment is making a top for your laptop. And, you know, we'll mill the surface out, and then we'll have the CNC machine make a cut. And first to make a cut, it needs this T3 tool. So after you've milled the surface, you need to tell it to grab that T3 tool. So it's just typing in T3 enter. There's a little command prompt up here. And it's going to put that first tool away. And it's going to pick up the next one. There's probably a way to do that, like all in one, but yeah, I don't know why it does that. It lowers that, it drops that. Okay, so now I want to kind of do the same thing I did before. Load the file, do the 3 checks, and then let it go. Here's the thing though. I put a different tool on it. So I need to redo that Z height because they're different lengths. So I got to send it back and recheck the Z on it. I'm going to move the machine that way. And bring down the Z. Oh, so it's not. It takes a while. Like I keep pushing the button, it's not moving.
Are you in limits?
Oh no, that button, that soft limits button is on. Uncheck that button. Now I'm gonna go down. Am I like not over a groove? So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to do 1 100th. And I'm going to go to 10.
One more.
Yeah, 1 more. hundredths.
Right, spin.
Oh, wrong one.
Still far away.
You want to?
Can you move it Y direction? Because there's a hole in there.
Yeah. Take your hand out of there. I'm not sure what. More?
More. Wait a second.
Okay. Alright, so.
Keep going. Couple more. One more.
Okay. Alright, so that's going to be Z0. The XY still has, I wouldn't want to do XY because that would mess up. You only do the XY once. That was for the original surface and this one. So I'm going to pick my Z up now. I'm going to go back to medium. Get the Z up over the material. So, loading the file has to be last. It has to be after you've set up everything. So I'm going to load the file. Do the 3 checks. Make sure there's no T command. The T command will be up front, the tool command. So the minimum Z is 0 because I want it to be right at the bed to make that cut. So I'm seeing that here. Alright, so I'm going to go for it. I should have told it to pick that skirt up. I actually don't know how to do that. So I'm going to have to ask John. I'm going to move it that way now. There's an air gun over there too. I did it a few times and it didn't move. It didn't move.
Oh, it didn't?
No. So, yeah, it was a good question. Joe was worried that when it was cutting, that this thing might move. So if I would have left, you can tell in RhinoCam, in the software, you can tell it to cut and then lift up and then cut. Right? So you get like that ping pong. Yeah, so you get something like this where it's still kind of connected. But when I was working on it last week, it wasn't moving when I cut it. So I said, okay, so with this vacuum form, there's a little suction hole here. So I like to have my material over that. You know, maybe like that. This is The styrene needs to be cut to 24 inches by 24 inches. So I can pick up styrene for you guys. There's a place near my house, and I'll just, you know, like they were selling it for like $1 a square foot here or something. I think I paid 50 cents a square foot, so I'll save you half the cost. So I'll do that. The foam you can get, if this foam seems okay, I mean you can get this at Home Depot. A 4x8 sheet was only $12. So. What's that?
We have to bring it back.
The styrene, I mean the foam? Yeah, like I was in the Home Depot parking lot, like karate chopping it. That's why it's cut like that. So, yeah, I did my best to get it in. Alright, so it's just placing this down over. So let me go back to what this looks like when you get here. I think if I hit this finish, I think it looks like that. I think, or that. I think that. But the only thing John did was he turned the heater on. You know what you want to do. You can do like while you're setting it up. It's not like the Up Mini where there's like a predefined time that you have to have that heater on for. It's just while you're getting this, while we're doing what we're doing right now, you can turn it on. And then you want to bring this thing down. So for me, for me to do this, oops, make sure that these go under the. Make sure they're open, I guess. Yeah. Make sure they go under. I have to like put all my weight like on here. It makes it easier. Because at first I was like I couldn't do it. I was struggling. But once I put my weight on, it was pretty easy. Okay, so the heater's on. So I can go to start. For right now, it's low default settings. We don't have anything pre-programmed in here. The only thing you would pre-program, I guess, is how long you should heat the material for. Like we could do a few tests with the styrene and know that it's like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, but I have no idea. So I'm just going to low default settings. So the key is when this is heated where it needs to be. I'm gonna just check the table, see if it's working actually. Alright, so it's working. That thing's moving up and down in there. So when this gets to where we want, and I'll show you in a minute, you want to push both of these buttons in. That brings the table up. Then you need to turn the vacuum on, which is this upper right button. And you'll see it gets sucked down on there.
And quickly, too. It's a go process.
It's not like hit this and then...
Move quickly. Push the blue bar back. Hit the buttons. Then push the back.
Yeah. You want this thing out of your way, the heater, when you're doing this. So what's going to happen is I'm going to bring the heater forward. Now, the first time we did it, it was sagging. The times that I did it with the styrene, it was bubbling.
Barometric pressure.
Because the suction.
It may bubble. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's just expanding. It's going to go someplace. Sometimes it goes down. Sometimes it goes up.
Okay.
The point is, it heats up as it goes through its heating process. It's going to expand, then it's going to contract. When it contracts, it goes tight like a drum, and that's when it's time to jump into action.
So when it looks again like this, like its original state, is when you hit it. Bring the heater forward, and you watch it. It's kind of a weird position, I guess, to watch. You need like a camera. Now it's going down all of a sudden. So you wait until it goes back to flat. You guys want to see? Alright. It looks flat now, right? pretty. Sometimes there's some wrinkles. That's fine. You're never gonna get it 100% flat. So I move the heater back, and I hit these buttons, and I'm gonna hit the vacuum. Maybe I took a little bit too long, but no, it's good. And then when it's done, you just hit that, and then grab that compressed air. You want to cool it down with the compressed air. That's pretty far forward. I didn't realize. Now, it's not going to separate. It might. I mean, if I hit this table down, I think I imagine the styrofoam is still in there. That's why we're going to be doing this double process. So I just open this guy up and give it a little down pressure. Careful, because this is going to flip up.
The general idea of the shop
See, it's probably not going to come out of that. So our process is we have to sacrifice. We've now made a mold, basically. We made a mold, and now if we had to mass produce this, you guys can put it on Etsy or Shapeways or something.
If we just
Yeah.
If we design it with a bowl, wouldn't it come apart?
You could try. You could try. Means like drilling a hole here, or in here.
Somewhere. Within the design, maybe.
Yeah, or you could drill like for vacuum forming to really get down. You want to have these small. Well, it's not a question of the holes, from what I understand. Like this one has holes in it for good suction down into the voids, but it's going to come off of this metal, or it's the actual foam. I think is the problem because of the temperature. It's the temperature making these two bond together. So I don't think there's really any other way. I mean, the first time that I did it, my sheet wasn't very long, and it left, like it was pulling up out of here, and it was allowing air to release, so I didn't get a real good bond. And then they came apart. But I think this process that I invented last week is probably the best, the best one. Maybe I had it a little close this way, right? We had this giant sheet, so I could have moved it. I mean, I wanted it over the vacuum, but I went a little bit too close because it's going to make it a little more challenging to get this off.
Have you tried to break it out, or is that really?
You could break it out.
But then you're, I guess, on the original stuff.
You could break it out, but then you can't do multiple. I know the assignment's not to do multiple, but maybe with our midterm, with this column, maybe there's repeated elements in the column, and maybe the mold does get used multiple times. So we'll see. Yeah, but for me, it's like, do I want to sit here and paint and spackle and buy another thing, or do I want to just sacrifice a sheet? That's what I felt like. This was maybe an okay approach. So I don't have to vacuum form the second piece. The part that I have to get together with John and figure out is after I have the final one, which is this one. Now, after I have this is the one. It needs to be cut. So it's a matter of getting it back here on, registering it back here on the CNC and having the CNC machine do this cut.
Well, couldn't you leave it back on that original mold, like the second vacuum form? Couldn't you put it back on the first one and just like have that as like a base and cut around it?
Cut around it by hand or cut around it on the machine? Yeah, like this is the original, right?
Yeah.
Or that particular one. Like just drop it back into that.
Or just putting this on the bed, so we should have like something underneath that's like a solid surface, and then put that on top of.
Yeah,
that.
I think so. I think in the end it will be putting both of these back on there. It's just a matter of registering it, which I don't think should be too hard. I haven't done it with John yet. He wanted to wait. He wanted to think about it, but I'm guessing you just put this down on the bed, bring XY00 to, I don't know, to here, wherever you want to make your cut, and just go for it.
I think the only thing you have to worry about is if it moves, but I don't think that would move if it's already got the form inside of it.
Yeah. Well, I'll be the first to test it for you guys to see what happens. You know, I tried cutting it by hand. Forget about it. You'll cut your fingers off because it's like on an angle. So, any questions while we're here? You guys are super lucky that John's willing to let you guys. Because that was the first time I asked the question. Like, can they come in here and just do it? Which that's the way you're gonna learn how, right? He's real good, so he's gonna walk you through it. But then to have access to a CNC machine, it's pretty awesome. Over in the shop, there's always a class. You know what I mean? It's hard to get access to it. Brett's gonna have his students, so I think it's great. So yeah, so we're gonna meet back in Crown. I'm gonna show you how to set up this file in Rhino, right? Which is important. So we'll do our break now. So we'll start back up at 3:30. I have to leave at 5:45 today. Is that okay?
Darn.
Alright. But yeah, no. I'm sorry. Any questions? No.
Nope.
You guys got the videos. Got John.